Hey everyone, welcome. We're going to do a quick weekly outlook. As you can see here, guys, we had a transitional market. This is an accumulation. We have failed to come perfectly into the actual order flow flip zone. However, we don't necessarily need to. This high to this low is the higher time frame change of order flow delivery. If we start going to the 8 hour, you will see sell to buy. We have reached into the flip zone. Now, if price is going to come into the origin of that flip, it's going to reach a bit lower. So currently we are bearish. Currently, as you can see, we have already mitigated this flip, and we could continue making lower lows into this origin. If you look at the 4 hour though, what we have to understand is that we've had two sweeps of liquidity, and now this is a bullish leg of price. Bullish leg of price. If we're going to see a Wyckoff, we want to see a 15-minute accumulation in this zone for higher prices to sweep this inducement liquidity for a higher time frame supply zone. If we go to the weekly, you can see that we did not mitigate completely these areas of price, and we did not actually ever mitigate the origin change here. So we have had a very rapid descent into now this transitional market here. Okay, so I am going to be looking for a higher time frame or lower time frame Wyckoff to start to mitigate potentially this origin and maybe even sweep it. I am going to be watching to see if price comes lower into these demand zones. But my overall bias, folks, that we'll get a mitigation off these zones. And then if price comes up before a good solid accumulation, then I'll be looking to sell this market inside of these, maybe a liquidity sweep. But we have plenty of zones, guys, that we believe that price can go bearish for mitigation and bullish for mitigation this week. We are definitely in a transitional market. We have to be careful. I would not be holding trades massively until we start to see highs break, meaning if we start to see these highs start breaking or these highs start breaking, then we can start to anticipate an actual expansion like that, just like we saw here, just like we saw here, and just like we saw here. But I'm going to see what takes place inside of this zone, and you can clearly see from this highs range to this low range, we do have still 100 pip range of mitigation if we're going to have another candle that pulls back like we did last week. You can see that last week we had a nice pullback into the flip and the continuation. We could have the same thing happening this week as well. So I want to see if we get a bit of an accumulation to create that upthrust for continuation down, clearing out some liquidity. But those are for next week price action, unless all of a sudden Monday and Tuesday just keep ripping. Okay, so that is what I'm going to be looking for. We're going to keep an eye, obviously, on lower time frame accumulations and distribution patterns. We are inside of a lower time frame flip zone, so I will be watching for these zones to get mitigated, and we'll see if we get a really nice, solid mitigation this way, or if price continues down into this further demand zone, which is the actual change of order flow delivery outside of this range. Okay, so we'll keep an eye this week on what takes place, but those are my biases. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Impact FX video. This video, the reason I'm coming out with another one so early is that the last YouTube video that I put out was talking about transitional markets and how EU was in a transitional market phase. Now, I want to go through this price action because, as you just saw, the mentorship video, I had a couple biases for the week. We had biases for selling, which is this is a supply zone, as well as there's a supply zone up here. And we had a bias for buying off this origin price. Now, when the week started on Saturday, and I did my market analysis for the weekly outlook, this was a bullish leg of price. So if we were going to have an accumulation here off a POC flip zone, I was looking to see if it would do that. But the reality is this fair value gap and this imbalance and this flip zone, the true flip zone of the accumulation range, had not been mitigated. So as the week progressed and we were chatting in the mentorship group, I was anticipating accumulative phases for buying, selling, buying as price changes, just like I taught you in the transitional market video that I just put out. So, based on that, this is Friday's candle. Let's go through the hour chart and you can see how price printed. Price on Sunday and Monday start to come down into our target zones. Now, I had two levels of interest in the group. One, if you start to understand what I'm talking about here, I had put a level of 07980 out for the group in the chat, which I'll post here in a second, where I believe price could start a mitigation, as well as the origin right here. So anything below these two white lines, I was looking for buys this week. Okay? So let's look at what takes place on Monday. An absolute beautiful buy that came all the way up into this supply zone. So I was buying on Monday, I was selling on Wednesday, and then I was buying on Thursday. So let's look what takes place. Wednesday, I actually got the news event trade up into here. This was an absolute beautiful flip zone for the sell. And then today on Thursday, you will see what happens. Comes into the origin. Now, I can't trade this at this time. This is New York or London. I am not trading at 11 p.m. my time. I am sleeping at that time. So let's look at what takes place. Price is ripping as I wake up. It's 5 a.m. I'm still not on the charts. 7 a.m. This here is when I got on the charts. Now, originally, I wasn't actually going to trade today, and I mentioned that to the group because I had a few things I wanted to put together for a beautiful lesson that we're going to be doing on the weekend in the mentorship. But when I saw what Price was doing, it was just way too obvious and easy to get into these trades. So I decided to take two trades today in high probable zones. Let's take a look. On the 15-minute chart, when I got onto the chart around 6:30, there was two levels I was looking at. Okay? One, this overall demand zone. Okay? Why? Because if we're going to have an expansion, we're going to have a pullback. We've already broken the highs. This looks like a strong low and rip. But I also noticed that on the hour chart, we had missed the origin. So I had two demand zones to try. I got into a 1 to 4 RR trade off that price action. So from this tap of this demand all the way up there, 17 pips. I closed my trade before news, which I always do. Price came into the hour demand zone, as you can see, and I got into a lower time frame trade. Break of structure, retest of the origin, and I got into a trade right here. Okay, that was my trade, and my trade is still currently running. I believed, and I said to the group, that we would have a rally all the way up, and I think into this zone. Price, at the current moment, as you can see here, is getting there. Okay, this is live price, and that was one of my trades. So, the reason I'm posting this video, folks, is not to show you my trades, but to teach you and so that you understand why is price ripping. Because this is the transitional market phase. It's the accumulation that caused the high. This is the most probable area for a really good trade. There obviously there was a couple other areas that we were trading in the mentorship group. You can see clearly anything below that candle body into the wick would have given you really nice trades. 87 pips. This trade so far, 95 pips and counting. So, like, what I want you to understand is once you focus on where price will transition, where the accumulation zones are at, and how you can actually ride these moves based on fractal price. As price moves, boom, mitigation of a flip zone, mitigation of a flip origin, and another expansion, new origins, new flip zones, more expansion. You can get into these trades, folks. You can absolutely understand that this sell on this news event was an absolute beautiful strong high flip zone, and then boom, you could even have bought that because we came back in and swept this liquidity. There's so many ways that you guys can use the knowledge I'm teaching here to get into the Forex market. And I wanted to showcase this today because it went so beautifully with the last YouTube video. And I hope that you start to see these things take place every single day. You can absolutely take these trades with the knowledge I am sharing with you guys, and you can spot these moves ahead of time, just like we talked about in the mentorship. I had these zones outlined for the group because this is what we're looking for. We're looking for origin and flips and where price transitioned in the market where it has not mitigated, because that is where the liquidity providers are going to be searching for to complete a cycle. And once you understand mitigation cycles, you will be able to catch these trades. And the reality, folks, is I don't even care if price comes all the way up into here because I've already profited off this move. Everything now is just a runner and it's bonus. And once price comes up here, if it sweeps that high, I'll take another partial. And then if price reaches here, I'll take another partial. And if price keeps going, I'll take more partials. But the point is that we understand and can anticipate these moves so that you can get profitable. Because even if you took a couple losses, even though if you pay attention to what I teach, these flip zones, these origins, these distributions are beautiful areas to sell from because at the moment, yes, price was bearish. But price was in an accumulative area that can cause what? A Wyckoff. And a Wyckoff will show signs of weakness. This, if it gets taken, will be a sign of now strength on the trend. And then we'll look for what? A pullback and a continuation off this flip zone. Because we want to sell if this area of price is liquidity, right? These are liquidity pools in the market. So if we go to the weekly, you can see that I mentioned in that outlook price has not mitigated this origin. So it could come up into this origin and then keep falling. But it's all good because we got the buy up into that origin, and then we can look for more sells for a continuation, or price is going to sell into this origin and reaccumulate. And now, guess what? We're flowing with the higher time frame because this high flipped this origin put a new high, so this could now rip and create another higher high off of this price action, because this price action also reaccumulated off a 6-month origin. Let's go to the 6-month chart. 6-month origin. We right now are bouncing off this flip zone. We have come back into the origin, and this 6-month candle could continue to go bullish for the mitigation of this cycle. We're always flowing with a higher time frame narrative, and by doing so, you can catch insane moves in the market. Okay? So, this is a quick video. I hope it helps solidify what we talked about in the previous video, and that you guys can now start actually putting these pieces together. You can start to capitalize on these absolute insane moves in the market with a systematic way of looking at origins and flips and mitigation cycles so that you can get in and out on a daily basis and become profitable. All right, folks, I'll see you on the next lesson. I hope you have a good rest of your week.